Hey everybody, welcome back to Good Cooking. My name is Chris, and today we're doing some finger licking fried chicken. Now, it's not 11 herbs and spices, but you don't really need 11 herbs and spices unless you're trying to market your chicken. So, we're going to do just a basic fried chicken today. We're going to do a buttermilk bath for the chicken with hot sauce, so you get a little bit of heat on your chicken. And then we're going to let that marinate for about 2 hours. We're going to toss our dredge together, and we're going to fry it at 325 on the stove behind me. So it's an easy recipe. The first thing you need obviously is going to be a chicken. So I have right here one whole chicken. You can buy parts if you want to. It'll be the exact same recipe whether you're buying parts or whether you're breaking in a whole chicken. I prefer a whole chicken because number one, it's less expensive than buying the parts already broken down. I think this whole chicken cost me $7, and the equivalent parts for this is probably closer to 15. Once it's all broken down. So I like the whole chicken option better. Plus, when it's over, I got the leftovers I can make stock with, and I can, use that for soups or sauces or whatever I want to do. So real quick, I'm gonna break down my chicken, and then we can go ahead and start from there. When you're doing your chicken, if you're doing it yourself, you wanna make sure that you've got a nice sharp knife, because a dull knife isn't gonna do you any good. You're just going to leave meat on the bone, and that's not what you want to do. Now, when I'm doing fried chicken, I like to take the breast and cut it in half and get 2 pieces out of it. You don't have to. It's just a preference for me. Cooks quicker and easier. The skin on, that is, kind of how you feel about it. That's your personal preference. Some people like skin on, some people don't. Some people like bone in, some people don't. If you're going to leave the bones in, if you're going to get boneless, it will cook a little quicker. Sometimes it's just easier to eat. So now that the chicken's broken down, we're going to go ahead and make our buttermilk marinade. And for this, we're going to use 2 cups of buttermilk and a half cup of hot sauce. I like to use Texas Pete's hot sauce. And what that does, it'll give it a nice, a nice little modicum of heat on there. It won't be spicy. But you'll get a little heat in the back of your throat. Now, if you want to leave this out, that's up to you. You don't need it at all. If you want to add more, be my guest. If you wanted less, this is a complete personal preference. So now that the buttermilk is done, I'm going to add in my chicken. So this now I'm going to put in the fridge. I'm going to let it sit in there for 2 hours. Now, I would do a minimum of 2 hours, but a maximum of 8, depending on the timing of, when you're cooking this for, whether it's, prepping in the morning for dinner, 8 hours is fine. If you're kind of in a rush, I prefer 2 hours, only to let that buttermilk get a chance to kind of help marinate and break down that chicken a little bit. The acidity in that buttermilk definitely does help tenderize the chicken. So giving it a couple hours is optimal. So I forgot to turn on the mic, so we'll do this as a voiceover. I've got my mixing bowl, and I'm going to add to that 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Next up is 1 cup of cornstarch, and that gives it that nice flaky crispness. I got 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of paprika, a half teaspoon of ground cayenne pepper, a half teaspoon of black pepper, fresh ground, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I'd recommend using something like an iodized salt, something that's a little bit finer. So that's what we have for the dredge. So our chicken's been marinating 2 hours now, so I think we're ready to go. I've got the oil on the stove. We'll go check that temp in a minute, make sure that we are in that 325 to 350 range. When you're frying on a stove top, you want to make sure you're using a high-sided pot and that there's only oil in the bottom. When you add a wet item such as a fried chicken to oil, it tends to bubble up. You don't want that overflowing on the side, especially like I do if you have an actual gas burner. Let's go ahead now and get our chicken dredged in our spiced flour mixture. You want to make sure, knock off as much of that marinade as you can. Go ahead and drop it in. Make sure it's covered all the way around. And then you're good to go. So we're going to check our temperature. So we're just coming up of 351. A little higher than I would like, so I'm going to turn the burner down, but I know as I add my chicken in, it's going to cool it off a little bit, so we'll be in good shape. I'm going to start with the legs because they have the bones in them. And we'll probably have to do this in a couple different batches. So we'll do 4 to start, or maybe 5. And you see what I mean about the bubbles that are starting to rise up. If you've got a shallow pan that this is going into at that temperature, that oil is going to spill over the side. So now we're going to test our chicken, test the temperature. We want that to come to 165 degrees. 165, there we go. So we fried that chicken for about 9 to 10 minutes. Man, I'm gonna try it right now actually. So I am so excited. I love fried chicken. So juicy. And you're licking. That marinade gives you a touch of heat, a little bit of acidity. Ooh, that's so good. Yeah, I'm about to have some lunch now, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna go. Thanks for watching. Good cooking. If you tried the recipe, have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Love to hear your feedback, see what you think, and have a good week. Happy cooking, and bye for now.